What's up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. Khabib recently explained why he would never be friends with any of his former opponents, making his stance very clear. When asked to confirm whether he has friendships with fighters he competed against in the octagon, Khabib didn't hesitate. He said they can be respectful and polite, but it will never be friendly. In his view, the nature of fighting makes true friendship impossible. This guy tried to smash your face, he explained. How are you going to be friends with him? He pointed out that combat sports are very different from other games. In fighting, the goal is to physically dominate and hurt the other person, and that creates a line that can't be crossed afterward. For Khabib, respect can exist, but friendship does not belong in that space. Khabib also addressed his retirement and the claims that he walked away too early. He said the decision to retire was extremely clear in his mind, and he has never had serious thoughts about returning to the octagon. When asked if seeing old photos or memories ever makes him want to compete one more time, he shut it down quickly. No, honestly, no, Khabib said. He emphasized that when he retired, it was a very clear decision, and there was no doubt attached to it. While he has no interest in returning to professional competition, Khabib admitted that the desire to compete is still in his blood. He explained that when he feels that itch, he satisfies it in the gym. I have the best fighters in the world in my gym, he said. When he misses competition, he trains with world-class athletes, not only the best in one division, but some of the best pound-for-pound fighters on the planet. Khabib made it clear that he still loves wrestling, training, and high-level competition. That passion hasn't faded. However, stepping back into the cage is not something he considers anymore. For him, that chapter is closed, and his focus remains on training, coaching, and living life beyond fighting, while staying true to the values that defined his career. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to help support the channel. Moving on to another news, Ilia Topuria recently reflected on the year he's had in 2025, sharing his thoughts on both the highs and challenges he faced. As many fans know, Ilia is currently going through a divorce and has decided to temporarily step away from defending the lightweight title. With that decision, Paddy Pimblett is now set to fight Justin Gaethje for an interim belt. Despite the personal and professional changes, Ilia took to Instagram to give an honest and inspiring look back at his year. He described 2025 as a journey full of great wins and unexpected twists. Sometimes life pulls out of the script we had imagined, but it's precisely in those twists and turns where the most valuable lessons and real surprises appear, Ilia wrote. He emphasized that even in challenging moments, there are lessons to be learned and growth to be gained. He spoke about the importance of family and cherishing the time spent with loved ones. I've learned to value every second with my family and never regret anything because the best is always yet to come, he said. Ilia also reflected on his accomplishments, acknowledging that while 2025 was successful, he still feels there's more to achieve. Even though I've accomplished a lot this year, I know I'm not at my best yet. I'm more focused than ever, he stated, showing his determination to push further in 2026. He expressed confidence that the coming year will bring even bigger opportunities and achievements. Looking ahead, Ilia promised to continue building on his momentum and striving for greater success. In 2026, I will continue to do even bigger things. The best is yet to be written, he concluded, reminding fans that his journey is far from over. His words reflect resilience, focus, and an unwavering commitment to growth, both inside and outside the octagon. Ilia's message serves as a powerful reminder that setbacks can provide clarity, and even a year full of challenges can be a stepping stone to greater accomplishments in the future. His 2025 may have had twists, but his outlook for 2026 is full of promise and ambition. Moving on to another news, Lerone Murphy recently spoke out after being skipped over for a featherweight title shot, sharing the disappointment he felt when the announcement dropped. Even the champ, Alexander Volkanovski, had called Murphy out over the summer, but the UFC still went ahead and booked the rematch between Volkanovski and Diego Lopez at UFC 325. Lerone admitted that at first, he was extremely disappointed and felt disheartened. Obviously, I was very disappointed at the time. Very disappointed and disheartened, more so, Lerone said. He explained that ever since he knocked out Pico, he believed he was next in line for a title shot. Everything seemed to be going my way. I thought for sure I'm next in line. But, like now, I've had time to digest it and get back to work. It's kind of a perspective thing. Lerone shared that he's now working with a performance coach, focusing on forgetting the setbacks and concentrating on what's next. Everything he's teaching me is about forgetting about the bad and just focusing on what's next. It's a perspective thing, he said. He also reflected on how a potential fight in Australia against Volkanovski could have been risky. I could have gone to Australia, fought a close fight with Volkanovski, and they could have robbed me. Who knows? Who knows what could have happened? Instead, Lerone is looking at the bigger picture and staying prepared. He sees opportunities ahead and is focused on stacking wins to position himself for a title shot in the future. The way I'm looking at it is, I might be able to headline the UK card 5-rounder. Imagine a scenario where Volkanovski wins, retires, and then they make my fight the title fight. You just never know what's gonna happen. I'm just staying prepared, staying ready, and I'll keep stacking up them wins. Lerone said his mindset now reflects maturity and patience, emphasizing the importance of perspective and perseverance in a fighter's career. Lerone's approach shows that even when opportunities are delayed, maintaining focus, working on performance, and staying ready can open doors down the line. By keeping his eye on the prize and continuing to build momentum, Lerone is positioning himself for the moment when his title shot finally comes. Moving on to another news. Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo recently shared their picks for Fighter of the Year in 2025, sparking an interesting debate. The discussion focused on top names like Merab Dvalishvili, Islam Makhachev, and Petr Yan. Kamaru made it clear that his choice was Petr Yan. I got to give it to Petr Yan. I know a lot of people have been giving Merab because he fought 4 times, but you're only as good as your last fight, he said. He emphasized the significance of Yan's accomplishments, noting what he was able to do, who he fought to get to the title, and how he avenged a previous loss. Henry Cejudo added his perspective, highlighting the remarkable work Merab did over the year. Merab not only fought 4 times, tempted to do something that no other champion has ever done before, he said. The conversation touched on past achievements as well, with Kamaru reflecting, "Did you get Fighter of the Year when you fought those 3 times and you won? I should have. Exactly. I understand that." Despite this, Kamaru stuck to the principle of evaluating performance in 2025 specifically. But who put that work in 2025? Just because he beat the guy doesn't necessarily warrant Fighter of the Year. Merab left 2025 without the belt, bro. So it's a simple fact. Not Champion of the Year, Fighter of the Year, he explained. The discussion ended with both fighters acknowledging the impressive feats of each athlete while still making their individual choices. Kamaru remained steadfast in his pick of Petr Yan for Fighter of the Year, citing his skill, achievements, and ability to rise to the occasion. On the other hand, Henry Cejudo gave the award to Merab Dvalishvili, recognizing his relentless work ethic, consistency, and willingness to take on tough fights multiple times throughout the year. This debate highlights how subjective awards like Fighter of the Year can be, balancing titles, frequency of fights, and overall performance. Both Kamaru and Henry's perspectives offer insight into what it takes to stand out in the octagon and why both Petr Yan and Merab Dvalishvili are among the most impressive fighters of 2025. Moving on to another news. Daniel Cormier recently opened up about what he considers the biggest regret of his MMA career. He revealed that his rematch with Jon Jones didn't go the way he expected, and he attributes it to getting too arrogant in the moment, which ultimately led to him being knocked out. In a candid interview with Josh Thompson, DC shared the details of that fight and what went wrong. In terms of one regret, it was the Jon Jones fight the second time. DC said, "I was in shape. We were fighting. I was fighting really well. And then he kicked me in the body, right? I was like, okay." Then he tried to head kick me. And I was like, nope. I started feeling so good that I lost focus because now I'm being arrogant, talking to him, doing all those things when that was never me. I was always so locked in. That's why I was so good. I could wrestle. I could push at a very high pace, but I was always so locked in. DC explained that during his prime, when he stepped into the octagon, it was like tunnel vision. He didn't see anything except the fight. In between rounds, I would go to Bob Cook and Javier Mendez and say, "Did I win that round?" They'd be like, "You were on top of him for 4 minutes. How could you not know?" But I was so locked and focused, I didn't even realize what was going on. He admitted that in that second Jon Jones fight, he let his confidence get the better of him. In that moment, I was talking to him. I'm pointing at him. I'm doing all kinds of stuff that was just not me. And then I got kicked in the head. DC reflected that if he could relive that fight, he would have stayed completely locked in and not taken his eye off the ball. He recognized that Jon Jones was just too good, and he should have never allowed himself to get distracted or show arrogance in the middle of the fight. This honest reflection from DC highlights how even the greatest fighters can make critical mistakes when they step out of their disciplined mindset. His experience is a reminder of the importance of focus, humility, and staying true to your strengths inside the cage, no matter how confident you feel. Moving on to another news, Israel Adesanya recently broke down exactly how he gauges distance and controls range in his fights. He explained that when he starts fighting, he begins with his staple stance, his basic look that sets the foundation for everything else. "When I start fighting, I'm here," he said, describing his initial positioning. It's his go-to, the setup he relies on before adapting to his opponent. From there, it all depends on how the fight develops and who he's facing. Once he hurts his opponent and notices them backing up, he adjusts to close the distance. "I might start to, okay, I want to get closer, so I'll have my defense up, and I'll be here in mid-range because I know I've hurt him. I know he's tired," Israel said. This tactical adjustment allows him to maintain pressure while staying protected. On the other hand, if he wants to be more defensive, he switches to a long-range approach. "I like to be here and just use my long guard," he explained. He noted that holding different guard positions can be tiring on the shoulders, so training your body to handle it is key. "You try for a while, it's tiring, you know, bro?" "Exactly. You feel it on your shoulder. After a while, you have to okay, cool, then I'm here. I got him now," he added. He emphasizes that the ability to mix up ranges and guards is essential for controlling the fight. Once he has the read on his opponent, he can shift seamlessly between 2 or 3 styles to keep them guessing. "Then I just change. I just mix it up. Pick 2 or 3. Yeah, you try it," Israel explained. This dynamic approach not only helps him maintain dominance in the octagon, but also keeps his opponent off balance, forcing them to react rather than dictate the pace. His focus on range, defensive adjustments, and shoulder endurance highlights the depth of strategy behind his striking. It's not just about hitting hard. It's about knowing exactly where you are, how to manage energy, and when to close in or pull back. This detailed insight into Adesanya's fight IQ shows why he remains one of the most precise and adaptable strikers in MMA today. Moving on to another news, Holm is set to step back into the boxing ring this Saturday at the Colos Roberto Clemente in San Juan, Puerto Rico, to challenge WBA lightweight champion Stephanie Han for the 135-pound title. This fight serves as the co-main event for the Amanda Serrano card on the Zone, starting at 8 p.m. ET, marking Holm's second bout since signing with Jake Paul's Most Valuable Promotions in May. On Tuesday, Holm faced off with Han for the first time ahead of their showdown, building anticipation for what promises to be an exciting matchup. Fans are eager to see how Holm adapts to the boxing world after her transition from MMA, and this fight represents a major step in her professional journey. The clash between Holm and Han is expected to be intense, with both fighters looking to make a statement and secure a significant victory in the lightweight division. Moving on to another news. Khabib recently expressed his frustration with Dana White and the UFC, sharing his thoughts during a candid interview at the World Sports Summit in Dubai. Khabib made it clear that he is not happy with how the UFC is treating its fighters these days. He pointed out that the organization has changed its approach and politics over the past couple of years, and in his view, it hasn't been fair to the athletes who dedicate their lives to the sport. Last couple years, they changed a little bit politics, and I don't like this, to be honest, Khabib said. "Like I say, this is sport. It has to be fair. They cut so many fighters. Some of them don't even lose in the UFC, but they just finish their contract, and they don't give them a new contract. Honestly, somebody has to talk about this. This is what I don't like." Khabib also reflected on his own early days in the UFC, recalling how he was told that his name was too difficult to pronounce and that he needed a nickname. He chose Eagle because it represents Dagestan, and over the next 6 years, his name became widely recognized. He contrasted his experience with what he sees happening now, where the UFC seems to prioritize fighters who are good at trash talking, entertaining the crowd, or simply having the best haircut or the most followers. They need somebody who is talking, who is drinking. They want this kind of fighters. In the end of the day, this is sport versus best, not like best dancer or who have best haircut or who have best followers, Khabib said. He emphasized that the focus should always be on fairness and on rewarding fighters for their skill and dedication inside the octagon, rather than for entertainment value alone. Good guy Khabib always making things right and fair for everyone, just like the way it should be, he concluded. Khabib's words highlight his commitment to the integrity of the sport and his desire to see fighters treated with respect and fairness, regardless of their social media following or ability to generate hype. His message serves as a reminder that the essence of mixed martial arts should always be about skill, hard work, and dedication. Moving on to another news, Daniel Cormier recently spoke about the possibility of stepping back onto the mat for a wrestling match, sparking speculation about a potential encounter with his longtime rival, John Jones. Given that Cormier is now closer to 50 than 40 and has been retired for over 5 years, the chances of a third fight with Jones happening in the octagon are almost certainly zero. However, the legend did leave the door open to a competitive wrestling showdown. While talking with Josh Thompson, Cormier discussed the wrestling promotion, Real American Freestyle, and what it would mean to participate. "I'd wrestle the right guy. I'd wrestle like John Jones. That's a match that Raf would love to book if both men were willing, and the price is right," he said, highlighting the intrigue that a Cormier versus Jones matchup would generate among fans and the promotion alike. Cormier was quick to clarify, though, that he's not interested in competing against just anyone. He specifically ruled out facing Yoel Romero, who recently defeated fellow decorated wrestler Pat Downey at RAF4. "No, I'm not wrestling Romero, bro. I wouldn't wrestle Yoel. He's still good, man. He's like insanely good. I'm not wrestling with him," Cormier explained. He emphasized that his interest lies in testing himself against someone like John Jones, a long-term rival and the only opponent who would make a competitive and compelling match at this stage of his career. "I'd wrestle like a John Jones or somebody, but not Yoel," Cormier added. This revelation shows that even after retirement, Cormier remains focused on challenging himself in meaningful ways, preferring high-profile, competitive matchups over casual bouts. A Cormier versus Jones wrestling match in RAF would be a dream scenario for fans, combining two of the most decorated and skilled athletes in MMA history, giving them a platform to showcase their legendary rivalry in a new setting.